What's up, people? We are live. Man, we got comments in. Look at everybody already in the comments. Everybody talking mess. I know. Guys, it's been a while. And I understand this usually goes on Wednesdays. But with the holiday coming on, we all got stuff to do tomorrow. We ain't been on it, like in a few weeks. Military move for me, trying to get everything situated. Jay's been working on the road. Steven's on the road as we speak. I think Steven's driving back from Austin right now. Ty's
Yep.
doing Bama Standard right now. Chris might be on. It's been busy, y'all. It has been busy. But
Oh yeah.
you got you got me, you got Nick Nino's corner battle. We got my boy Jay from Unfair Sports. Man, Jay, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Nick? Man, it's official, dog. We in
Official
the
like a
SEC,
referee with a whistle.
right? Blow the whistle. We in that thing, man. It's kind of surreal to really think about the fact that we are actually in the SEC. That Oklahoma and Texas is there. Steven, thank you. Of course, you always holding it down for us in there. I'm going to make you a mod on my channel sometime soon. We have to work on that. But no, it's just surreal that we're for real in the conference. Nick, like, did you? I mean, I know that we've been talking about it for a bit, but how does it really feel actually now being in the conference?
Man, it's weird, man. We've been used to being in the Big 12 for so long. All the mess that Texas and OU fans have been talking, for years about, the SEC is top heavy and everything. Now it's time to put the big boy pants on. We're going to see exactly what all that mess was being said, which, look, I don't believe it. I believe that it's the best conference in the in football. So it just gets even better with Texas going and also OU going as well, man. Two huge brands. And I'm just excited for the matchups, man. I'm excited for the matchups.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's got my attention. If anything, is I'm ready to see us play against some of these big games. I'm excited, and it's funny because I was talking about this. I don't know if you knew, and you probably saw on social media though that I've joined Locked On Sooners, the daily podcast
Yeah.
for on the Locked On Network. So me and my co-host there, John, was talking about this, and this is the funny thing. So the beauty of going to the SEC is now we're really getting to travel to massive stadiums and really rowdy fanships, right? Because sure, Iowa State's got its moments, right? K-State, Manhattan's a little grimy. Boom picking, got to give it to Oklahoma State as much as I don't like little brother. They be rocking there, right? But we don't get to go down there to DKR. Y'all don't get to come up here to Gaylord Memorial Stadium, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even though we meet in the middle, and the Cotton Bowl is its own experience, right?
It's
It's not
beast.
like any other place, dog. That 50-50 split, 40,000 here, 40,000 there with additionals calculating in, it's a different world. So we don't get that experience of going to travel to 100,000 people at Death Valley to deal with, some craziness, or end up in Nayland for another 100,000, or like y'all did last year, going to Tuscaloosa and dealing
Yeah.
with that crowd.
And doing it
We don't
week
get
in,
that
week
on
out.
week in and week out. We don't get that, right? We're used to 40. I mean, we went to Cincinnati, it was 40 some thousand. Even though Cincinnati Stadium's built like it's kind of built like the Seattle Seahawks, to where like it's so much sound going into it where
Yeah.
it's rowdy, but going down to 105 down at College Station where they are excited about introducing y'all to the SEC as much as they hate y'all's guts. You didn't get that in the Big 12. There was never stadiums big enough to do that. After everybody started dispersing, after Colorado left and Nebraska left. I mean, the Sea of Red was probably one of the best. We went there on some non-conference, but yeah, we didn't have that. Now we got it. I think that's probably the biggest thing to me going into SEC is I know that week in and week out it's going to be tough, right? I mean, it's football, man. These coaches know what they're doing. They beat teams that have in this conference before. They've done that. The question is how's it going to be as fans being able to go into these rowdy atmospheres, not in bowl scenarios, rowdy atmospheres where majority of it is the opposing team, and see how bananas it is. That's what I'm excited about. That's the only thing I truly care about in this whole scenario.
Exactly, man. Look, man, it's gonna be interesting going to Ole Miss. You know what I'm saying? Going to Starksville from Mississippi State. Going to like to those little college towns too, man. I won't say little, but
Mm-hmm.
going to like true college football towns where people just eat, sleep, and breathe football. Um, Look, man, I'm all here for it, man. I cannot wait. I'm excited for it. Uh, Honestly, it was in due time. Texas and OU have kind of been planning ways to kind of get out of the Big 12. You remember back in the day, man, where there was that rumor about Texas and OU going to the Pac-12,
Yes.
and
This was all Nebraska's fault. All of it.
yeah,
Well, it's the Big 12's fault because all we wanted to do was play Nebraska at night.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's it.
You know,
That's it.
it's really that simple. But yeah, man, like, and now to see that Texas OU wanted to go to the Pac-12. Pac-12 didn't want that to happen. And now, because they didn't want that to happen and didn't see what was going to happen further on in college football, didn't have the foresight to see what's going on, the Pac-12 is no more. And all their
No.
teams are now in the
Pac 2.
Big Ten or the Pac-12. I mean, the Big Ten or the
Big
Big
12.
12. And the two teams that would have held that conference together are now in the SEC. And the
Yep.
Pac-12 has two teams right now, and they're on the outs. And so bad AD for the conference, because that would have had something great too, to have big brands there too as well. Texas, OU, USC, Washington, Oregon,
Oh my
uh, you know
gosh.
that would have been nice too. You know what I'm saying? So, but look, it didn't happen, and now Texas and OU are in the SEC, and it's going to be great to see, man. I'm just excited for the matchups, man. Getting Texas A&M back in the schedule is it's just A1. Even for you guys with Texas A&M, it's not really a rivalry, but it's an old Pac, not Pac-12. It's no
Oh,
Big 12
Big
rivalry,
12. Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's going to be awesome to see, man. New coaches being broken into. Elko, who's doing a pretty damn good job recruiting right now. Kalen DeBoer, I can't wait to see what he's going to be doing at
Mm.
Bama. Like number 2 class right now in the country. He's kicking butt right now, which kind of lends me to my next topic, dude. And it's something that me and you were talking about earlier. Dark horses for awards here. And look, guys, I'm going to tell you something. I watched the Manning's camp, and I saw Jalen Milroe do his thing. And I sent this message to the group text, and I said, "This guy's special." And Jay was like, "He is."
And it's funny you saying that. So before I jump into that, back to your kind of Pac-12 piece, and how the one thing I do appreciate about the hate and venom that we have as programs against each other, we recognize that rivalry is important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you notice we do a lot of things together. It's more of the ADs and presidents recognizing that, no, this thing that we have together, this is critical infrastructure. We give a shit about that. We care about making sure, because we could go to other conferences and make sure we schedule each other out of conference, but it's so much better when you're in conference and it's a part of everything you already do. That way you're guaranteed your exact dates, right? So I love that about how we run things. I love that it's how we do things. And so on to the dark horse. Yeah, man. Milo's good.
He's
Like, I
good,
was
dude.
watching a lot of that stuff. Dog special. Now, I'll say this, and I'm assuming for you thinking he's a dark horse for this year. I don't see it for this season. I do see it for next season, though.
Well, who?
DeBoer's
Who?
Milroe.
Milroe? Man,
Mm-hmm.
hey, look, I see him a dark horse for the Heisman and going to the league after this year. Dude, he's gonna kick butt in that Kalen DeBoer offense, man.
I see where that's at. I feel like he's gonna be just like Penix was. It's gonna be a year of them getting everything broken in with everybody, because it's not really Milroe, it's everybody else around him. Right? That first year in a new system, everybody's got to figure it out. I do think that going past that, and I do want to address Frightening's question there. I
Yeah,
do
like
think
seven and a
that
half.
year two, oh yeah, if he sticks around one more year, which I anticipate he will.
You
I
think
don't know
so?
if if he sticks around more year, he can end up like Penix as a first round pick. If
I
he
think
leaves
Milroe
in
can be a
this coming
first round pick
season,
this year.
I
I'm
don't
telling you,
see
man.
it. I think he's still a little too raw, and it's not a knock on him. It's more so he's gonna have to do a lot of compensating for everybody else initially.
Yeah.
That's gonna lead to those questions. You know what I mean? Like if he's constantly compensating for everybody else, figuring things out properly and making sure there's no mistakes. These are kids. All of them make mistakes. That's why I'm just like, yeah, I that's where my concerns come in. But if he does figure it out early, yes, I can see him gone. But I think it's going to take one more year. He goes in that second year, dog. Alabama's going to be absurd. They're going to be ridiculous. It's going to be unfair how good they'll be if he
I'm
stick around one
telling
more
you,
year.
this is his 4th year in college football coming up. Right? This is fourth year, right?
Is it his fourth?
I think it's his fourth year.
Let's check. I think it. I
Yeah.
think it is. I think it is. I think he's got one more year. I think he's got 2 years left eligibility.
Yeah, he
But
has 2 years
yes,
left eligibility, but this would be the start of his fourth year, redshirt junior year, if I'm not mistaken.
basically Michael Penix. Yeah, yeah. He
Dude,
played 21, 22 was his freshman year. Last year is his sophomore year. So he's a redshirt. He'll be a redshirt junior.
a redshirt, okay, dude, he ain't staying past next year. I see him balling out in his Kalen DeBoer offense. I think the offensive concept is going to be a lot easier for him to, like just to digest.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree with that.
and I just got a feeling Kalen DeBoer is going to make this offense so Jalen Milroe friendly. He's going to shine. I'm telling you, he's my dark horse for the Heisman this year. And you know what? I wouldn't even say dark horse because I think people really see how good he can be. We saw him get better every year. I know Texas fans hate when I say this, and I won't say it anymore. But this will be the last time I say this. This last season he had at Alabama, where they won the SEC championship game, reminded me of Vince Young's third year in college, where Texas was winning a little each game. They had one game where they stumbled against OU. They lost 12-0. And then Vince Young kind of won a game here, little by little. Cedric Benson ran like crazy that year. And then Vince Young had the coming out party against Michigan and then set him up for the next year where they won a national championship and Vince went to the league. I'm not saying Alabama's. I don't think Bama's going to win the national championship, but I do think this is going to be a coming out party for Jalen Milroe. I think he has everything. I won't say everything figured out, but he has that first year starting, like stumbles out of his system right now, and he did that all, like in spite of Tommy Rees. Like Tommy Rees was just not a good coordinator for that team. He did that all in spite of having a good offensive line, and they still went 12-1. I'm
No,
telling
you're
you,
not
man.
wrong.
It's just something about this dude, man. He is special, and he is my guy that I'm going to be looking for the Heisman Trophy. But let's talk about Fragnan's question here, man. He says, "What up, Jay? I hit Ty's channel with the question yesterday. Interested in YouTube's opinion. How do you feel about the 7-5 win Vegas line over under for OU? Disrespected or warranted? What do you think, Jay? I'll let you start this one off."
At 7.5, of course, I felt like it was a level of disrespect and I get why it was given, and it's because of the schedule, right? The three our toughest games, of course, our rivalry is always going to be a tough game. I don't care how bad or good either
Yeah,
one of us is. It's supposed to be that way. Which that's another thing I appreciate about how we play against. We work things out, but traveling to Ole Miss, who's coming off their first ever 11-win season. Shout out to Lane Kiffin doing what he does, and they're bringing back Jackson Dart, which is a huge deal in continuity. Going to Auburn, I still ain't ready for Auburn yet. Don't feel like they're it yet. It's gonna take time for Hugh Freeze to really revamp that. But once he get a quarterback, different story. Then we traveled to Missouri, who won 11 games last year, first time in a long time, and everyone for some reason is still hyping them. They are returning a lot of offensive people. The question is what's that defense going to look like since they lost their defensive coordinator and another defensive coach to LSU,
yeah,
who's going to be fun for us. Our schedule is tough. Our schedule is tough, and I recognize that. And the only thing good for us to me is our
yeah.
bye
You got
weeks
good
are
off
all in
weeks.
very they're strategic. They're perfectly strategic, dog.
Yeah, you
Like
got great
playing
bye
against
weeks.
Missouri playing Missouri after we play against Maine at the crib, that's another bye week. We
Yep.
basically got multiple bye weeks leading up to Alabama LSU, right? That
Yeah.
is huge. And then we bye against you all. And I think that's what to me makes y'all schedule a little bit harder is yes,
Georgia.
you bye before
We
us,
got
but you play Georgia right afterwards. So you got back-to-back super physical games.
yeah.
Not regular physical games. Super physical games, right? A
Yeah.
hated rival and a team that's known for being super physical. So I think that's where y'all's only problem is in your schedule to me is right there. Besides
Yeah.
that, should be a lot easier to go through. But I don't think, even with the way the schedules are lined up, my dark horse team is Florida. I think they're going to shock a lot of people this year.
Florida.
Especially if Lagway is who everybody's saying he is. That dude may actually save Napier's job, unfortunately. Or he may actually get Napier fired because he's doing so well and they're just looking at him like, yeah, you got to get some other stuff together. We got to let you go. We need to get him a better coach. type deal,
Yeah,
right?
you
That,
know that's gonna be
that's where
interesting,
I'm at.
man. He's a true
And
freshman too this year too, right? So
yes,
I don't know, man. It's hard for true freshmen in that conference, but he is the bomb though. But I'm looking at OU schedule. You guys beat Temple, you beat Houston, you beat Tulane. Uh, the thing that's going to show me what OU's about this year is this Tennessee game, Nico versus Jackson Arnold. What is Jackson Arnold going to be this year? That's my only question. If Jackson Arnold is the guy who we saw in high school, who's Mr. Everything and can do everything, I think OU's going to be fine this year. But it's going to be hard to break in a brand new starting quarterback going into the SEC. That's my only hiccup with that. But if he is as advertised, I think OU will be fine. Um,
for
Tennessee's going to be
me,
tough, man. But you guys get Tennessee at home, which is great.
yes,
Which is
yes.
great.
We get James Pierce at the crib. We get James Pierce Jr. at the crib, which that dog, dude, he's good.
He is good.
He
He is
he
good.
he may end up in some conversations. He may be the only reason why Tennessee survives a lot of games because, like you said, young quarterbacks. I'm afraid of young quarterbacks too, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not big on I'm not big on freshmen playing. I like redshirt freshmen playing. I don't mind
Yeah.
redshirt freshmen, but I have always had concerns about true freshmen. The
Exactly.
thing that helps me, thing for Oklahoma that I think is why I maintain high outside of excuse me, big homer is we're returning 86% of our production on defense, number 3 in the country of people returning production to a coach that's defensive minded.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, that leads
That
me to
helps.
believe our defense is gonna have to carry us this year. And
It's
it's no
got
knock
to.
on Arnold. The defense, if the defense shows up and carries us through Tennessee and Auburn, Jackson Arnold's gonna have to just do nothing but maintain for the season, get his feet wet, get himself confidence, and
Yeah.
then. But like you said, if he goes out there and shows like he is in high school, and the defense does their job, it's gonna shock out of everybody, right? I
Don't. Yeah.
Eight's the floor.
The only thing that I have a problem with Jackson Arnold is he has to learn to not take unnecessary hits. And he's one of those
Yes.
guys, he likes to run and he likes to dip that shoulder. And,
Yeah, he
and
does.
that's got to be taught out of him. Like, hey, when it's time to run, get skinny. Right? Get skinny, don't take on big hits or just get out of bounds. I need you for another play. And so that's my only fear with him because behind Jackson Arnold, you got Casey Thompson, right? And I think we all know the Casey Thompson saga, right? And so we know the Casey Thompson saga.
Yeah,
FIU
he can
knows
play when he's got talent around him.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Nebraska knows the Casey Thompson story. FIU knows it's a FIU or it's a FAU, one of the two. It was FAU because Tom Herman had him. My bad.
Yeah.
Let me stop.
He was at FAU, exactly. Coos over here with the what's up, fellow? Well, former fellow Big 12 peeps. Good one, Coos. That's a good one. What's up, man? Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, you're right.
That's
That's
my
where
only
we're
thought.
sitting at. That is where we're sitting at as well. And that's kind of why
I don't know. I got it, Quentin. They ain't like us. We need Chris on here. We need Chris on here.
we really do need Chris so he can start going back and forth. Because y'all know I don't do the going back and forth, unfortunately. It's just not my
Man.
personality.
They
But no,
they ain't like us. It's they not like us. Come on,
Yeah.
Quentin.
I know, fumble. You fumbled on your $2, bruh. You fumbled on the $2 donation. How you gonna do that? But no, I'm with you. We it has to be proven. And
Yeah.
I've always been that type. I'm the type of person that I need that to be proven to me. But I do think that majority we have 2 games that I feel like are tough for wins, and I really do believe that that's probably going to be Alabama and Texas. They're going to be the tough games. I think all the rest of them are. I think there's
you got
3.
I think you got four games that I think are going to be tough in my opinion. Those 4 are Texas, Alabama. I think Ole Miss at Mississippi is going to be tough this year.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one.
So that's 3. My next one is
Now, don't be disrespectful now. Don't be disrespectful.
I think you guys are going to beat LSU. I do. I'm not. I got to see what Nussmeier is going to do in his offense. I think you guys beat LSU. My thing now is Missouri going to be the Missouri that we saw last year without Schrader, who people don't want to put respect on Schrader's name. Schrader was the leading rusher in the country last year.
Don't you dare.
So I think you guys.
Don't you dare.
So, okay, I got 3 hard games for you, like 3 really hard games.
Okay. I can
maybe 4
that.
because you are playing LSU in the swamp.
In Death Valley. Yes. So that's the thing. If you say that, I'm there. I
Yeah,
am. I think LSU, Bama, Texas,
and
and Ole Miss will be our
and Ole
tough
Miss.
games.
I think those are it. And to be honest with you, depending on how the teams look, I think your defense is going to be outstanding. Like it's BV. He's going to field a good defense.
He's
Like the
shown it.
first
He's
year,
progressed every year.
yeah,
Every
yeah,
year at Clemson, he progressed. He's
yeah.
progressed here too.
He
Yes.
progressed here too. So look, I think you guys do beat Missouri this year. I think it's going to come down. That LSU. What team are we going to get from LSU this year? That's the question.
Right,
And I'm
and
not
they're
sure. I'm
refreshing their defensive staff too, as you mentioned. They brought in a new defensive coordinator who's better. We
yeah,
granted we know he's better. He did wonders for Missouri last year. We'll say that,
yeah,
right? And then bringing in Bo Davis and adding, I think it's like a safety coach or something from Missouri. They put together some pieces to try to fix the defensive side of the ball that was awful last year with a ton of talent.
yeah, for sure.
Now, if they fix that stuff, then I think that conversations will go up. I think that Etienne may actually be a sleeper at Heisman. That's my sleeper at Heisman this coming year from the
Hold on,
SEC.
18 said Georgia now.
Yeah, huh?
Oh, I
And
forgot
if they
about that.
just run the ball nonstop with him, they'll be able to.
Dude, he's just freaky good, dude.
He really is.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. What's up, chicken? Um, Hey, man, frightening truth. You're right. Bo was a huge loss for us and a huge win for them. Exactly. LSU got a hell of a defensive line developer. And he hasn't made there because he doesn't have to really recruit. And that was the biggest knock on him at Texas was could he recruit at Texas? And he just that wasn't his best thing. He wanted to develop players. LSU, you don't really have to recruit to get kids there, man.
Nope.
Which
Voodoo. It's
I don't
voodoo.
know though. Now, like now that I'm thinking about it, with NIL, you might have to start recruiting now because LSU just showed their pockets ain't as deep as everybody else.
They really ain't. They really ain't. But I mean, they're still pulling the local kids. I mean, them winning Dominic McKinley like that, dog. I mean, he's
Yeah,
young. That's the
Dom's a
that,
beast too,
it.
man.
2 years, different story. He gonna be something nasty for them. But yeah, you're right. They don't have the money right now, and I don't think they ever will. Actually, I just don't think that that's just their bag.
No,
But
it's
again,
not
the
their
only
bag.
problem is they got that local stuff, man. It's just kids are born and bred with the voodoo in their system to want to go to that school.
Yeah, yeah, man. Look, man. Look, I'm from Louisiana, and I get it. If I wouldn't have went to Texas, if I didn't move to Texas when I got to high school, I would have probably went to LSU.
Right. See?
Is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, oh man, great conversation on that one though. I like that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Thank you.
all
Appreciate you for writing in on that one.
dude, everything that we're talking about with LSU and how they don't have the money. Do you know they still got the third ranked class here in the country for
Oh, of
2025?
course. Of
I mean,
course.
they're always
And
going to
and didn't they
recruit well.
lose? And they even had a decommitment, and that still keeps them up there. How do you lose
Yeah,
more and still maintain that high?
yeah. So they're the number 3 team in the country. Ohio State's always kicking butt, man. They got 3 5 stars already and 13 4 stars and 6 3 stars. Alabama's number 2. All they do is just keep getting great players. 15 4 stars, 1 5 star, and 3. No, I'm sorry, 5 3 stars. And LSU, 2 5 stars already. Nine 4 stars and 1 3 star. So you already see what LSU is doing right now. They're talking about
Mm-hmm.
quality instead of quantity. Um, yeah, yeah, man. Kelly's looking at no 3 stars. He's going to try to get as many top tier talented players as he can. If he brings a class in about 24, 25 guys of the right folks, LSU's just going to reload. But they got to get that defense straight, man. That
Yeah, they
defense
got a lot
has to
of
get back
work.
straight. They got a lot of work,
Yeah.
man. Harold Perkins can only do so much. I think Harold Perkins is easily this year a first round draft pick this year. Maybe second round. It just depends. I think it's a first round talent. It's just a matter of how does LSU use them. But
Or
they got
waste
to
them.
build that defense. I know they kind of wasted a lot of his talent last year, which I was kind of surprised about. And Georgia's going to always reload. I think we already understand that. So it's going to be interesting, dude. I'm excited about it. I'm excited
So,
about it.
so I know you saw the blue chip ratio deal that went around from 247. I think it was
Yeah.
CBS had put it out there on that, and they showed the 16 teams, and based upon them, that's typically who's going to compete
Yeah.
for. And a chance for the title, right? Michigan won it last year with a 54% ratio, which is one of the lower ones over the last since they've been keeping track of it was that 2013, which is basically the CFP era, right?
Yeah.
Michigan's one of the lower ones at 54, but as you mentioned, Ohio State, they're 90% blue chip. Like, I don't get it. Dog. Like, I don't get it. Like, the person that does so little with so much more has got to be Ryan Day. While at the same time, the dude only loses one game a season.
Well, look here, man. You know what's crazy about Ryan Day? This year, for some reason, I got a feeling that he doesn't have the quarterback he wants, and I got a feeling his offense is going to go berserko.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just got a feeling, dude. Look at my boy. Look who just came in. Look who got themselves up in the chat.
Whoa.
What's
Ty
going on?
Hayes.
Yo. Bama standard Ty Hayes and pulled up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just was checking the chat, the group chat, and I saw that you said 8 Eastern.
Yeah.
And the Bama standard starts 8 Central, so I was like, "Oh, they're gonna overlap." So I'm sorry, I'm late.
No, dude. No, that was on me. I told Jay, I was like, "Shit, I meant to say 8 Eastern Standard Time. I got to get used to being back on Eastern Standard Time, Ty."
I can imagine. I've been in Bama for a year. The same way.
I've been in Bama for a year, man. So I'm just like 8 o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock. You know, man. So
I'm fully messing up the time consistently when I go back to Virginia.
When are you moving?
Oh, well, that's probably put off for a little bit because my wife found out for her master's program, she has to be enrolled.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like for teachers in their master's for what she's going for, she can't take a year and do a master's program because, well, I guess you could lie, right? And just like go to past data with your students, but they really recommend you utilize the current data sets that you have with your students and all of that. So hopefully she's looking to get done by December, and we might be doing a move in December because
okay, that's not too far.
No.
So we get time for the football season. What you telling me?
Yes.
There's a good chance. Yeah.
Look who came in now, Jay.
The man we needed.
Oh man, look at Fighting Troops. Like, holy, we got Chris too. Yeah, we got Chris with a K. Hey, Chris. Hey, man, look, Chris and Jay. I'll be in Oklahoma. I'll be in Oklahoma City. I gotta go for my job. Everybody here on the SEC Connect, you're getting all the information about my job stuff. So look, I gotta go to Oklahoma City, bro. I'll be there the night of the 14th of this month. And I leave on the 16th. I got to get briefed on a couple of programs down there. So I will call you guys, man, and we can go get us a drink or two on Monday or something like that.
Yeah, hit Chris up. I won't be here.
Okay. Well, Chris, you can have a drink or two, man.
I'll definitely be here. You know what I'm saying? Now that I know Jay ain't gonna be there, I might have my peoples come with me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I'm gonna wear a burnt orange shirt coming through the airport
too. A little boom sooner action. You know what I'm saying? Behind that, yeah.
Little boom, soon.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna be in all burnt orange. I might die that night. You know, I heard about how how crazy I be getting down there, man. But
you're gonna be like Rick Ross coming down here, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be pistol out here real quick. You gonna have to take make a sharp right, take a left, and then head straight to Denton to get with Ty because it ain't no love out here, baby.
I feel bad because I would love to. I'm actually gonna be down there in Ty's neck of the woods. That's SEC Media Days. They start on Monday the 15th through the end of the week. So yeah, I'll actually be down there for that with Locked On.
Cool. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
So I'm gonna ask Sark some crazy questions. I probably
tell him, man.
For you.
Hey, look, good question here from Blake. Blake goes, Jay and Nino, do you think Tennessee and Josh live up to their hopes or fall short?
So this season, I think they fall short. Ooh, and I only say that because they're replacing a bunch, right? Like on both sides of the ball, not just one side. Like it's James Pierce and the Pips on that defensive line. Linebackers, shaky. Secondary, shaky. I think the wide receiver room, I mean, you got Squirrel still, and Brew McCoy's coming back, but he's come off that ankle. So we got to see what he is. And, until I see what he is, I don't know.
Yeah,
Offensive
true.
line should be fine, even though they're kind of that's still a new line.
Yeah.
Nico should be fine, but Nico's also his first time starting, there
And
or whatnot fully in a
Nico's
season.
So small, dude. He's
thin. He can move.
He can move.
And hopefully he does the opposite of Jackson Arnold and doesn't try to lower his shoulder on folks.
Yeah.
He does a good job of getting out of bounds. Now,
go ahead.
I think he have a good season, but I think that I don't see 9-10 wins out of them. I got to look at their schedule again.
Let me check your schedule. Holy moly, guacamole. Holy moly, we got all 5 in one spot today.
Whoa, first time in a long time.
On a win.
Steven,
What's up, Steven?
I miss you, Steven.
What's up? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you.
I can. I miss you. You got a fresh lineup and everything.
Look at you. You got the fade on the sides. I see you playing.
Yeah, Frey looking cool. Looking crisp. Ain't nobody clown you, man.
As if I normally don't
you always do, except for that one time when everybody was going after you for a while. And that never goes away, right? I've had people send me messages about that, but like, hey, man, y'all gotta get Steven Crack. Get him on here. Is he not coming on because he ain't got his fade tight like he normally do? I'm just like, shut up, man. That's funny.
Frightening True said, no way. All 5 of us, he buying a lottery ticket tonight, y'all.
Buy one for me.
Chickens go. Steven got loose.
But see, so Tennessee's they travel to Oklahoma. They have Alabama in Neyland. They travel to Georgia, right? That's probably the 3 hardest games. See, Florida comes to the crib, and they travel to Arkansas. No Ole Miss this year. No. But they got North Carolina State to start the season at the Duke's Mayo Classic, the second week of the season. So there's potentially 4 games losses right there. NC State ain't gonna be no punk.
That should be a wax. That should be a wax. I think you spread NC State out. NC State. My only problem with NC State is what is their offense going to look like? Because it's been really bad these past couple of years, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
When they come here, to me that's Jay. I got mine right here. That's really going to test our competitive depth, right? So go ahead and drink to that. But I think you'll see a bunch of different formations, different things like that to stay on top of those shots that they want to take, because I think that's what Nico is going to do a lot this year. I think he's going to take a bunch of shots down the field. Obviously, that's what that offense wants to do. I think they'll try to, be physical run game, right? I mean, I think I'm just speaking to the choir, being repetitive right now, but I mean, because we all know what Tennessee's going to want to do. But I don't think it'll be an up and down year. I think they'll have a pretty good year as well to start the season. I mean, to me, I think they lose at OU, but I think every other game, I don't see why they shouldn't be 5-1, 4-1, whatever it is after that game. Going into whatever game is after Florida, if you'll scroll down just a little bit so we can see. I don't know if that's Bama, Georgia, or who.
Bama.
Yeah, exactly, Bama. So, for me, I think, hey, maybe they're undefeated. Maybe they're 5-1 going into that game, because I don't really see Arkansas or Florida. I think Arkansas is going to pick up some wins early in the year. I think that they may get a win that may look impressive later down the stretch. Once they go to T. Boone's Pickens Stadium to mess with Okie Light. So I think they could get some early momentum, but I think that, I think Tennessee should be 5-1 at the very worst going into that Bama game.
Look here, man. Let me tell you something about this Tennessee team this year. They might have gotten better from subtraction this year at the quarterback position. And I think
I agree with that.
So they went 8-4 last year in spite of their quarterback. And nothing against Milton. I don't want to say, this guy's an NFL player right now. Nothing against him. But we all know the kind of offense that the head coach likes to run. He ain't hitting Hooker, dude. He's not Nico with the arm either. He has a hell of an arm, a bomb of an arm, but
no accuracy
is not there. And I think just by having a better quarterback and a better signal caller, I think Tennessee is going to be a better team. I'm be honest with you. I only think they got 3 tough games in the schedule this year. I think they go 9-3 at the absolute worst. I think OU is going to be a toss up. I think they beat Arkansas because Arkansas has nobody in their team right now. I'm not worried about Arkansas. I think they beat Florida. Bama's going to be a toss up, but it's in Knoxville.
Yeah,
and so it's going
that
to be
really
interesting.
helps their cause.
That helps
Yeah,
their
it does.
cause. Yeah. And I think Georgia's a toss up. I think Georgia wins that game, but UTEP and then Vanderbilt, I think they are evenly spaced out. When you start to look at their games, they got 3 games, and I think they beat NC State in week 2. They're tough games.
Yeah, the
for
nation's
Oklahoma.
best balance. I agree.
Yeah,
they have the nation's best balance probably of all of the teams in the SEC.
Exactly. They got a tough game at week 4. Week 5 they should win. Week 6 they should win. They got a tough game at week 7, and then it's spread out. I think they got a bye week. Having Kentucky come home to them. So they'll be fired up for that game with a week off. I think they beat Kentucky because they don't have the depth, and I don't think their coaching is as good as as Heupel either. I think they beat Mississippi State, who doesn't have an identity right now, and then they have basically 3 weeks off before Georgia. I shouldn't say 3 weeks off. I'm sorry. They have a week off and 2 less than stellar games. And then they get Georgia, and then after Georgia, they get to rest up and play UTEP and Vanderbilt, and then I think they finish the season 10-2. Man, I think they sneak up and beat one of the 3, and I think they win the rest. I got them 10-2 this year.
Bold. That's bold.
I think you probably have them.
I think that's realistic. I mean, I like I said, I looking at this schedule, I mean, your games are so spread out from, I mean, if I may say, bias included, if you want to just go ahead and go that route. But OU, Georgia, and Bama to me are the 3 biggest games on their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I think I have them 9-3. I'm most kind of curious about the wide receiver position. Now, McCoy is going to be an asset in terms of the 0 to 15 yard percent completions, right? Like that's where I think that Heupel offense and that veer and shoot, you get Nico in rhythm with those short to intermediate throws, and then you test a defense deep. But do you have the deep threat to be able to do it? Oklahoma returns the most talent in the SEC in terms of defensive pieces. Alabama, they have questions in their secondary, don't get me wrong, but they also switch, and this is something that I don't think is being talked about enough. They switch from a pattern match style of coverage to a vision style of coverage, and vision coverage is far easier than pattern match. Pattern match is that Saban stuff that a lot of people try and implement, and it's real heady, really difficult. And so while I still think there's growing pains, I do think that vision style coverage allows for more flexibility, especially in terms of facing a veer and shoot with some younger cornerbacks. Because I actually think that despite what Alabama did in the transfer portal, one of those 5-star freshmen will start, right? They got 3 last year. I'd keep your eye on Zabian Brown from Mater Dei. That kid is a technical wizard. So I think they could go 3 losses, but I don't necessarily. If they did go 10-2, Nick, it wouldn't shock me, right?
Yeah,
because
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm a believer in the veer and shoot. I am, especially the way Heupel does it, and especially with Nico. Guys, I haven't hid this fact. I am a big Nico fan. I thought that of the 5-star quarterbacks that class, he needed the most time, but I thought he had maybe the highest upside of any quarterback in that class, right? Like he needed the most development, but if it clicks, I think that he's got something different.
Yeah, man, he's special. He's special, man. He just has that moxie about him too, and I love that coming from the quarterback. Guy that just has the it factor. He just kind of has like that. When he steps into a room, he's in the room. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's something that you need when somebody's kind of leading your team there, man. So
speaking of, before I hop out of here to go to the Bama Standard, did y'all already talk about who I believe will be contending for a top 3 quarterback in this year's class?
Who?
The young man out of Duncanville,
Keelan
Russ.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about it.
Look at I want to see him do that move.
Winning Elite 11 MVP, then going to the Rivals 5-star camp, winning MVP. That kid is good.
Hey, Steven knows this. We've been talking about this behind the scenes for probably 6 or 7 months, right, Steven? in like another group chat, but he's one of those guys, man, that I was talking to a friend of mine who played football at Texas, like back in the day. And I was like, bring Keelan Russell in. I don't care if it hurts anybody's feelings. Bring him in. First of all, he's a guy that's a Texas guy. Usually those guys stick. And he's just special. I mean, like the difference between him and KJ Lacey when you're looking at the overall picture when it comes to those two guys, is it that much of a drop, or are they equal, or is Russell better? I think they're right there. And one could argue Russell's a bigger guy, better size. He might be the guy that could withstand the punishment. Now, my friend that played football at Texas said Lacey's just a special kind of kid. And I get it.
He is. I agree with that. I completely agree with that.
But Russell, man, he's different too, dude. He's different. I mean, I love some Russell, man. You guys got to steal there.
Great quarterback class.
I will say this. I've watched Keelan since I think 8th grade is when I found out about him. Before he even started a game at Duncanville, when he was still going back and forth. I think he was messing around with a receiver back then. And I just want to say this. I'm proud of him. I'm proud. Because I feel like I've been vested in this kid for years. But the thing is, he took over a Duncanville team that was full of grown men at a very young age. And his job initially on that first state championship run was to make a few throws, don't get in the way, don't make mistakes. Let you got 29 back there in the backfield going to LSU. You got a bunch of receivers like DeCorian out there. I mean, look at the Alex January, Colin Simmons on defense. I mean, it was crazy what he had to do that first year, and he really didn't get a whole lot of attention. And SMU smartly offered very early. They were early on him. Because of his frame, you could tell he was going to grow, which he's now like 6'4".
Yeah,
6'3", 6'4", yeah.
You could tell even he kind of lanky back then, he was going to grow. What has impressed me with him is that second state run, he started playing big boy football himself. And he, even with the same guys, even with Caleb back there at running back, even with DeCorian out there at receiver, he still made it his team, his offense. And for him to take that confidence as a 2-time state championship quarterback, I mean, think about that in the state of Texas at this level of 6A, right?
Yep.
I mean, you start thinking about guys like Kyler Murray back then that had that type of success at the highest level, playing on these type of juggernaut teams, but also having to perform on a huge, huge stage, right? Duncanville has played teams. They played St. John's from DC. They played DeSoto, who gave them that work last year. They played a lot. He's had to go up against North Shore twice, right?
Yeah,
and Devin Sanchez
task.
in them, right? So he's how many tests has this guy passed, right? And he parlayed that confidence into the Elite 11. I was just rooting for him because I'm like, man, go do your thing. I underestimated my own guy because I went out there and won, right? And that just shows the competitive juice and the type of captain that he. When I think of him, his Twitter handle is presidential. He is a captain. When you watch him with his guys, if you ever get to see him in person, he runs that team. He really, really does. He runs that team. Now with KJ, I will say this, and Ty, you can correct me if I'm wrong. KJ, while he's smaller and completely different frame, you do get those Bryce Young vibes.
I agree.
With
you
KJ.
do.
I agree.
You get the Bryce Young vibes where he's a brainiac. He processes it really quickly. He does a lot in his offense that he's running in Alabama.
Yeah.
The Duncanville offense, some people can say, can be a little remedial.
That's true.
When you're beating up people, I mean, I only got to run 5 plays, so be it.
Yeah. Why think if you ain't got to? Why use many words when few words get job done?
which is even more impressive. What he did at the Elite 11, because there were some questions about that. There's always been questions about the Duncanville offense. So seeing him go do that, and throw the football at all sorts of levels and just compete, I'm excited for this quarterback class. Right? These guys are terrific.
If I could say two things before I have to head over to the Bama Standard, I completely agree about KJ Lacey, Bryce Young vibes. And, I was doing a show and someone was like, well, Lacey has Ryan Williams. And I was like, well, Russell has
DeCorian Moore.
Right? What I would argue isn't the wide receiver talent they have is, do their wide receivers ever break stride to catch those passes? No. Ryan Williams would be in a full sprint, do this, and the ball would right there. DeCorian Moore's in a full sprint. He does this and the ball right there. So yes, granted, they have very talented wide receivers. You still got to get them the ball accurately. And whenever you have cats like DeCorian Moore and Ryan Williams, who, guys, Ryan as a sophomore ran a 10.49. I believe DeCorian Moore this offseason ran a 10.49, right? Mm-hmm. These guys are blazing. If you hit them in stride consistently, yeah, that's great that you have these talented dudes. You're distributing the ball better than I could hand it off to them, right? Like that, to me, this is an incredible quarterback class. The one thing I did want to add on, though, Steven, I love your point about like his Twitter handle and that he is like a leader. I don't know if you saw, I believe it was day 2 of the Elite 11. During some of the accuracy drills, he had guys drop a few passes, like 4 that shouldn't have been dropped. Hit him right in the head. And the way he responded to me was just like, that's incredible. Like, he didn't put his head down. He went straight up to them and was like, no worries, bro. Like, let's run it back. Like, I think that you summarized that brilliantly, because outside of his actual physical abilities, I think it's the mental that he brings to the table that I am just so excited about. Like, he is mature beyond his years, and I loved the interactions he had with the guys at the Elite 11.
That's my biggest thing with Russell. He attacked, we're talking about DeCorian Moore. Who was checking DeCorian Moore in the state championship game? It was Devin Sanchez. So that's also like a thing where it's like, hey, you should stay away from that cat. And the year before, when North Shore had all those DBs, and all of them went D1, and there's no hiding, right? Mm-hmm. And he attacked guys. There was no hiding out there. So, you have to, old soul Russell is a great way to put it. He really does have that old soul vibe. When you hear him speak, like Ty said, when you see him interact with his teammates, and the fact that he's just been in big ass football games.
He's a winner.
Career.
You know what? That's like people think that's like overstated to say that somebody's a winner. But he's a winner. You see that Saban used to do this all the time. He wanted kids from winning programs, right? He wanted to be great players, but he also wanted them from winning programs for a reason, because they know how to win. They know what it feels like to win, and they hate losing, right? You go get a great kid from a losing program. I'm not going to say that they're not going to pan out, because a lot of them pan out. But when you get kind of complacent and used to losing, losing doesn't matter to you because you're already putting up your stats, right? You want to get those guys that are from winning programs that just kick ass every weekend, and that's Russell, man. Russell, man, Bama got a hell of a dude, man. He shot up the charts here over the last couple months. All right, Ty, man, see you, brother.
Yeah, Ty. We can stop talking about Ty and his favorite team. Man.
I'm glad that guy left. He was getting on my nerves.
I wanted to add one more point.
Seriously,
real quick. I wanted to add one more point about Keelan. If you haven't watched because I can already picture it now, especially his senior year. Some people might be thinking, well, y'all gassed up Jaquindon Jackson a few years ago, and he ended up moving. This is not that. Okay,
no, he's not.
If you have not watched him play football, go educate yourself. He is a pocket passing, very lanky, tall bomber. He's a bomber. Okay.
That happens to run pretty decently.
And he can run. He's actually developed as a runner.
Yes, really, that's what people don't understand, Steven. Like they haven't watched him play. Go watch the state championship game from last year, and I want you guys just to see how great he did. He's one of those guys, like Steven said. He's a guy that passes or he scrambles to pass the ball. He's not scrambling to run. And I tell you what, man, he's outstanding. Great arm talent. Of course, he has great talent around him, but he is the engine that makes that thing run, man. And
It's an excellent fit with Kalen DeBoer. By the way,
dude, he's gonna be so sick in that offense.
It just sickens me to think, a few months ago, Ty was talking about, oh no, man, Ty Simpson, man, he's gonna get a shot. And the Austin Mack kid, this kid comes. Now we're talking about this kid. I'm just like, Ty Hayes, make up your mind, man. What do you want to do? I get we're in the world of competition, NIL and all of that, but stick to your guns, man. Stick to your
He
guns.
says, "Stick to your guns, man. Stick to your guns."
I'll see you next time, Ty. I'll see you next time.
Tell me your cheese and farm.
I wanted to make a point about Tennessee as I was listening to the conversation. I think expectations, what we'll see this year, and this applies to Tennessee. I think we're going to start having the conversation more about, are you a playoff team or not, versus necessarily if you're 9-3 or 10-2.
That's true.
With this 12-team playoff now, it's going to be more of, did you make it? because there's going to be that bubble threshold, and I think Tennessee is one of those teams. You have a kid on your team, and I don't know if this was mentioned before I came on. You have a kid on your defense who's being mocked to go first overall in the 2025 draft, in James Pierce Jr., who's getting comparisons to a sober Alden Smith. Like you
Holy shit!
Like, damn, Steven.
Like, I'm just saying, if you a sober Alden Smith is an NFL Hall of Famer, so you have that on your defense. You have Nico, who you paid X amount of money for in this hypo veer and shoot offense, and that schedule is very reasonable.
It's favorable. It's favorable schedule, man.
Yeah, and there's enough meat on the bone to where if you beat some of those teams, you'll get boosted up. I think it's going to be more of a conversation if did you make the playoffs? Because there's another team in the SEC that I have as playoff or bust. Tennessee, I'm on the bubble with them just because of what they've lost, and I agree with Ty about the receivers. Squirrel White and them are going to have to. Somebody going to have to be take the top off the defense guy.
And that's been my thing. It's Nico's going in there, and he's got Squirrel. Brew is it's coming off that ankle situation. Yeah. So I don't like to give anybody that until I see what you actually look like healthy. And, like same thing with Andrew Anthony towards ACL against you all. Right. I'm not going to count him until I see that he's healthy and he can play. So the running back room and the wide receiver room, besides Squirrel, I mean, it's all young dudes.
Questions.
There's so many, and it's going to be Nico having to overcompensate. It's kind of how I felt about Milroe overcompensating for the offense at Alabama, just because it's all new. Even though we know Kalen DeBoer's pretty much a wizard when it comes to a lot of that, he's still going to have to be the one to make sure everybody gets in place. 1 year, maybe a little struggle. Year 2, I think it'll be like they'll ace the test at that point. That's where I'm at with Tennessee right now. The running game is going to be different. Let me see, tailback. They got Dylan Sampson coming back, so not bad. But wide receiver, Nico, I don't know who Nico's throwing it to besides Squirrel. That's healthy.
What's encouraging, though, is that they kind of played it out perfectly last year with allowing Nico to play that bowl game.
That's true. That's true.
He gave you more than a taste because he played really well, right? I mean, to the point
against Iowa.
I mean,
it's a great defense. I know, but hey,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. If
we can say want to by Iowa, but their defense is always going to show up. It's their offense that is garbage.
Here's the thing. If I could get a word, shout out to JB. Look, I tried to tell Jay. I tried to educate Jay all the time last year. Joe Milton's a bum. If you want to hear it one more time, he's a bum. Anyways. Back to Nico. So the recipe for success for them is doing exactly what Milton really couldn't do. Milton was great throwing the deep ball. Milton was there were some times where Milton was a serviceable quarterback. He was workmanlike. But the problem was his intermediate game, like he couldn't really hit the intermediate routes at a consistent chip. And that was something that was lacking from the offense, being able to work the field when they're trying to take away the deep ball. So they had to run the ball an awful lot, probably more than what Heupel wanted to do. This veer and shoot, all the rest of that stuff. Obviously, we had Levy, all the rest of that. They run it differently up there in Tennessee, obviously, because they're not stubborn like Levy was, and they're not running jet sweeps all around the field all game. But I think that's one thing that we have to take into account is, can he work the field? Which he has all the talent. I'm not doubting that. I think the kid has the superstar label written all over him, but I want to see the kid be able to work the field, especially in those tough games. They have a little bit of film out there on him, and we know he's a different beast than what Milton is. Will they run him?
Well,
Possibly.
Chris,
I don't really see them running him like that, to be honest with you, because what's behind him?
They ran him enough. They ran him some in. He doesn't have the frame where you pile up carries on a guy like that. That's number one.
All.
Number two, they ran him situationally in that Iowa game, and he was very effective, especially in the red zone. Number three, to your point about intermediate accuracy, he was hitting those throws effortlessly in the Iowa game.
Though. That
was one of the things where it was like kind of obvious, like, oh wow, like this is a big upgrade from Joe. Yeah. Where it was almost like watching a very veteran quarterback just put the ball on a guy and let him get yards after the catch. That's natural for Nico. I mean, think about all the camps he went to where he was winning all these awards at camps because he was doing just that. That's what his claim to fame is just accuracy. So you get that naturally with him. I think it's going to be more, to Jay's point, what's around him and having good players around him to allow him to grow and develop as he sees different defenses for the first time with his own eyes every single week.
And that's what I'm saying. I got to see it at a consistent chip. And remind me, was that before or after they were getting into Clemson's ass and everybody was putting in their backups? I'm just asking.
What are you talking about?
Because you're talking about he played in the bowl game. I mean, that
was
Iowa.
Oh,
Tennessee Clemson was the year before.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so on that portion of it, when it comes to Iowa, look, Iowa has good defenses. We'll give them that. They also played in the Big Ten West, where they played teams that didn't have offenses. So it was basically the Legends
straight.
Yeah, the Legends division, where the score is 10-7 versus Northwestern. It's 10-12 versus Minnesota, 15-6 versus Wisconsin, 2014 versus Purdue. Look, my point, Rutgers 22-0, Illinois 15-13, Nebraska 13-10. Yeah, defense gonna look good if you playing those teams all the time.
Come on, Jay.
One thing I will say though, didn't they play Michigan?
Please tell me I'm wrong. This past season, yes, they lost 26-0.
So,
and they lost to Tennessee 35-0.
But the Michigan game was the Big Ten championship game, wasn't it?
Yes.
That game was pretty. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't that game pretty close going to the third quarter? Let me look at the box score.
I do not remember Michigan, Iowa. Big Ten championship.
I remember watching it. I watched the game.
I'm about to go pull this game up right now.
Hold on, 2023 season. I'm pulling up now. So, all right, so they lost Michigan 26-0. Let me pull up the box score.
It was 10-0 at the half.
It was 10-0 at the half to the national champions. All right.
And in third quarter, it went to 20-0, and then they closed it out in the fourth. It was a lot of field goals.
So that's my point, man. They got a damn good defense.
They've
always had a good. They got a good defense.
Well, they also punt the ball so they can play defense all game. I mean, that's what they do. They punt on first down.
That Nico should get credit for what he did against that Iowa defense, correct?
That's a good win. Yeah. That's a good win for him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But Cooper DeJean didn't play either.
Oh, he didn't?
No, he was hurt.
That's
right. Did he play in the Big Ten championship game?
I don't think he played in that game. I think he was out that game.
So there we go. I like Nico, man. I like Nico. I think Nico's going to be good to kind of, talk about just the depth of that team. put you guys on the wide receivers. I think the running back's going to be fine. I think Sampson is going to be serviceable there. Dude averaged almost 6 yards a carry last year on his
He
limited
did.
snaps. So look, I'm not going to throw the running game, like in the trash here. I honestly, I think they're going to be fine. Their offensive line is going to be good this year. But like you said, it's who is going to be the wide receivers that are going to pick it up in the offense. Now, Heupel has recruited very well. All right. I think last year they had 2 5-stars coming last year, right? So those guys should be true freshmen
Yeah,
this year.
Matthews and somebody
What's the other
else.
kid's
Yeah.
name?
But
Yeah, but he brought
he's
in
a
some
good
good
coach, though.
talent. Yeah, man, he's a good coach.
He's a
So
He
good
is.
coach, and he's going to find his matchups. I mean, that's all he did against Alabama 2 years ago. I mean, well, when they had Hooker, he just found those
he just
matchups.
found a matchup, man. He found a matchup. I'm telling you guys, man, I think Tennessee is going to be a good team.
Yeah.
I think not having Joe Milton and having Nico there is going to pay dividends for that team. I just got to, honestly, I just got a good feeling about him. I do.
Yeah, it's Mike
Uh,
Matthews and Braylon Staley. Yeah, the two guys. And
yeah.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you in that. But again, that was my entire point. Is I want to see what wide receiver steps up to help Nico perform. Because regardless
Yeah.
of how good he plays, if his wide receivers ain't catching nothing or getting open, throws everything off.
So look here, though. They lost 4 games last year, right? Florida 29-16. Milton was Milton. Okay. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They lost to Bama 34-20. In that Bama game, we saw that game. They put it on Bama in that first half, and then Milton looked like Milton again in the second half. All right.
I blame Heupel in that game. I was at that game. That was on Heupel.
Were you
His
at that
play
game?
calling decisions were the play call, his decisions in that game, bad.
Were they?
They should have won that. They should have won that game. They
They
made
were
way
up
too many
big
stupid.
in that game too. Was
Yes,
there like 14 points or something going into halftime? Something like that?
yes,
It
yes.
felt like in watching that second half, it was like Heupel, I know it was working in the first half, but it's like, dude, you got to make an adjustment at some point.
Yeah.
You can't keep running Milton at them. Now they expect it. They know what's coming, and they popping his ass every time he starts
Every
trying to
dang
go down.
time, dog.
It's going to be interesting, man. Look, I'm excited about it because I just like Nico. I do. I just think Nico's a little different, man. But we'll see, man. It's going to be an interesting season, and they got a favorable schedule, meaning how their games are spaced out. OU is going to probably be their toughest game in the first 5 games, and then they got 3 games later, Alabama. So they got some breaks in between there, and then after the Bama game, 3 weeks later, they play Georgia, and then they finish off with Vanderbilt and
they probably have the best spread out schedule in the conference. That it's perfect. Like it's the right amount of gaps, and they're playing because their bye week is between Oklahoma and Arkansas, and both of them are on the road. So it's a recovery type setup. But Florida and then Bama, even though I think Florida's going to be a lot better than anticipated, I really do think they just show up in a weird way. But their schedule set up. And I am not. I don't think you won't be wrong on disagreeing. I just have this weird feeling that the way these schedules are set up, it's not going to be as cut and dry as we think it's going to be. It's the SEC. Weird stuff happens.
I will. Let me go ahead and this is going to lead to my hot take.
Go ahead.
Of the offseason, but the team that has the easiest schedule, in my opinion, the most favorable. There's nobody that has an easy schedule. Let's clarify that.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing a gauntlet. However, the team that has the most favorable SEC schedule, in my opinion, is Missouri. I believe, especially how good they were coming off the 11-2 off a Cotton Bowl win against Ohio State. They don't have to play Georgia or LSU or Texas, and they're going to be 4-0 guaranteed with off a bye week going to Texas A&M. That's their first difficult game is October 5th. So they're gonna be a shoo-in 4-0. After A&M, they play UMass. Then they get Auburn at home before they do have to go to Alabama, which is their toughest game. After that, they have OU. You guys are going to renew your rivalry with Missouri. But
it's going to be good.
OU has to go to Missouri.
Yep.
And their only other 2 road games are at South Carolina and at Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm. What should
and
be Dubs? What should be Dubs?
they finish with Arkansas at home. Missouri, to
Damn.
me, is playoff or bust. Easily, honestly. They finished 8th in the country this past season. They're returning a lot. And they have a dark horse Heisman candidate in Brady Cook. They have the best receiver in the country in Luther Burden. They upgraded their offensive line with Caden Green and those guys. They've hit the portal hard on defensive line. They got pass rushers, multiple pass rushers. There's no excuses for Missouri, in my opinion, looking at this team and the schedule.
I can see it.
I just checked that schedule. You might be on to something. You might be on to something,
right behind
Steven.
them. Mississippi's right behind them, though. Let's think about Ole Miss is right behind them.
For sure, but they don't have
they don't have this schedule.
They don't have an Ole Miss on the schedule either.
They don't have dude. So they got no Ole Miss, no Bama, and no Georgia.
They do have
no. Yeah.
They got Bama. They got Bama. They don't have Georgia. They don't have Georgia, Texas.
No Ole Miss, no Texas, no LSU.
Steven, here's what I'm gonna say to you. The big three right now for them are obviously Bama, A&M, and OU. The sneaky one that I see in there, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. And I know I like to troll Jance and Ty and all them, but I think that Auburn game may be a sneaky good game. To be honest with you, I think Auburn's
later in the season
they get Auburn. They get Auburn at home.
Yeah, they get Auburn at home, but I think it's still going to be a sneaky good game. I think it's
especially later in the season. Later in the season as well, because Missouri's 0-3 straight up versus Auburn in the SEC.
To me, too, with the amount of guys they have coming back, they've earned the benefit of the doubt from a consistency standpoint with me. They lost 2 football games last year. One was the LSU game, which was a damn shootout, and Jaden Daniels went crazy in that game, right? I think he had like six touchdowns. That was one loss. The other loss was the Georgia game, and they were right there in that Georgia game. They lost 30-21, but they lost that game really because of penalties.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and look, they beat themselves as much as they were right there with Georgia. If you go back and watch that football game, especially defensively, at the line of scrimmage.
Defensively
last year,
everything else they won.
But defensively this year, go ahead. I'm sorry. My fault.
No, I'm done, Chris.
They almost lost to Florida though at home last year.
And then Billy Napier's team got in the. That's true. They
I'm saying, dog. They almost
wide open.
What?
Yes. And Kansas State was a win on a field goal that was like 60 yards. They snuck out of a lot of those games.
Winning's a win's a win.
Touche.
I think. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I'm just trying to get this point out. Look, look. You can't pick up a lot of things from spring games. Everybody's going to look good. Some people may look bad or whatever. But I think defensively, I'm still drawing a question mark on that D line. I don't think that they. I don't know.
They hit the portal though on the D line.
They hit the portal, but it wasn't anything that was just a home run. I think that at the end of the day, offensively, I think they're going to be okay, but they can be up and down as well. I think that if you can keep Burden from getting loose out there, taking the roof off of your defense, I think you could be fine. You could stay in the game. I think that they're definitely beatable. This isn't just hate. I mean, looking at the schedule, I mean, hell, if they lost to just OU, Bama, and A&M, they're still 9-3. You get what I'm saying? I mean, like, this is a favorable schedule most likely for them. This is a good schedule. This is a great schedule for them. I think A&M is going to cause a lot of problems for people. I think Auburn could cause problems for people. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely a favorable schedule. But I just think that, and I'll be honest with you, as big of a fan of Theo Weiss as I am, I think they got another wide receiver. I can't remember the kid's name, but I remember there's another wide receiver I was looking at in the spring.
Got Mookie Cooper too.
Yeah, I say he's going to have a hell of a year this year. It's like it's going to be I forgot what the kid's name is, but it's somebody out of total left field. But offensively,
probably Mookie Cooper. Yeah,
they're going to be extremely explosive. But I think defensively, that's where my questions are.
Well,
yeah, Missouri's defense is where I got questions. You too.
Yeah, but they returned. I mean, they were the 8th. They finished 8th in the country last year, 11-2. they return a quarterback going into his third year as a starter.
Yep.
Brady Cook.
Yeah.
A quarterback that did improve year over year tremendously. I think his passing touchdown interception ratio was 21-6.
Yep.
He threw for 3,300 yards, and then he ran for another 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he normally runs between 400 and 500 yards. I think he was their second leading rusher behind Cody Schrader. The transfers they brought in at running back are both of those guys are going to be cold. The kid from Georgia State that they have replacing, because Cody Schrader was
he was legit
underrated player in the country last year.
He went undrafted, guys. Do you understand? He led the country in rushing last year and went undrafted. And I'm talking about like had great games against great teams. Like he just wasn't pounding up a bunch of yards against Georgia State and Maine and UMass. He was pounding up great yards on great teams. Like I think he had 150 against Ohio State. I mean, he had a hell of a season, dude. And he went undrafted to the 49ers. Now watch him ball out. I already see it happening, dude. I already see it happening. Kyle Shanahan's like, got him. Oh man, but look, man, we got a question here from Matthew Miller, $5 question. He says, "Who do you guys think makes the playoffs from the SEC?" Most people think 5 makes it, which I think is crazy. Now look, 5's generous, but it could happen. You got 12 teams going this year, right?
It can happen.
It can definitely happen. These are my 12 teams. I got Georgia. I got Texas. I got Bama. That's 3, right? I think I got Ole Miss. And that 5th spot, man, something's telling me say Tennessee, man. It's something about Tennessee. This is something about them. I just got a feeling Heupel's going to go 10-2 this year and go to playoffs. But I got 4 for sure and 1 possible. What you guys think?
Steven, how you feel about that?
I'm sticking. I mean, maybe I'm drinking too much Kool-Aid from Drinkowitz, but I have Missouri in there.
I can see him.
I mean,
the schedule is what gives him the most confidence. Go ahead, Steve.
It's the schedule. It's the schedule.
Yeah, he has no excuse not to.
If
basically.
you don't take advantage of this schedule, then you're not a serious program, Eli.
I think that's what happens to them. Is they prove to everyone they are not a
they
serious
smoke
program.
the schedule. They smoke a layup.
Lightning in a bottle. Lightning in a bottle. Same thing with Tennessee. Lightning in a bottle.
They're gonna smoke the schedule, dog.
I do think Texas, Georgia, Bama get it. I'm between those 3. So Texas, Georgia, Bama. Where I come down to is OU and LSU. OU, LSU, and Missouri.
How about Ole Miss?
3. I know they paid a bag. They got all those. Hey, they got Walter Nolan. They got my boy Princely over there.
Isn't Princely out? Isn't he out for a while?
Is he out for a while? What happened to him?
I think I saw something somewhere that's saying that he was hurt for most of the season, but I may be wrong.
For the upcoming season? What happened to Princely?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't know about that.
Like injury in practice or something.
Not my boy.
Look here, guys.
What happened to him?
Shit. I'm looking at Ole Miss's schedule, right? Ole Miss has Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, Kentucky. They're 5-0 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5-0. South Carolina 6-0. LSU is going to be the first test, I think, but they get it at LSU. Is LSU who we think they're going to be? That's the question, right? Their defense sucked last year. And you're replacing the Heisman Trophy winner. I like Nussmeier, but you're replacing 2 first-round wide receivers too as well.
I'm not picking against Brian Kelly at home in that scenario.
I get it, man. But it's gonna be interesting.
I know it's hard.
Now, Brian Kelly is not going to have a defense that's that trash 2 years in a row. No way, Jose.
But then they got an off week, so after LSU, they have a bye week, and then they go to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, we go to them.
Yeah, you guys come.
Honestly.
That's going to be a tough game for you guys.
Oh, very much. But I think they lose to Arkansas because they overlooked them.
I don't think they lose to Arkansas. I think they beat Arkansas.
I think they overlooked them because they have Georgia coming into town the next week. They don't have a bye between that. I think that's the game that they overlook. That leads them to 9-3.
I don't think they. Look, man, I'm
I'm
with
not
you.
in love with Ole Miss like everybody else is. I'm not.
I think
Me
they lose
either.
2
It's Lane
games
Kiffin.
tops. I think they lose 2 games tops, and they should be a team that should only lose 1 game. But I think they lose 2 games because Lane doesn't have a signature win, and I still don't think he gets a signature win this year.
I don't think so either.
Well, I don't know. So if he doesn't get a signature win, that means he loses against LSU, Oklahoma, and Georgia. You know,
I think they may lose 4. They can go on a 3-game losing streak.
I'm calling it. I think Lane beats LSU in the swamp. I think he goes to Baton Rouge and beats LSU. I'm saying it right now.
So you're saying LSU's out there? Ooh.
I'm saying the Bayou boys are getting beat by Ole Miss. Don't kill me, y'all. Y'all know I love you.
That's the game that takes that derails their entire season.
I think Ole Miss beats them, man. I don't know why I'm saying that. I just think they're going to be a fresh team going into LSU.
I don't think anybody knows why you're saying that either. We're trying to figure that out too.
I just think they're going to be a fresh team going, just going to LSU. And I'm looking at LSU's schedule now, but LSU's going to be fresh too. They got USC, then Nicholls, South Carolina, UCLA is not going to be a pushover. I
just like LSU's talent. They still have a lot of firepower.
They do. I got to see that defense.
Nuss is going to be really good. I have no problem with him at QB. I just think that Harold Perkins and that defense, they're going to be okay. I'm not saying that it's going to be a night and day type thing, but they're not going to be. They were trash last year. They were trash.
Steven, maybe it's me having hope for Lane Kiffin. Okay, maybe I just want to see Lane do good 1 year. Okay,
he did good last year.
Maybe I want to see him.
To win last year.
He wants him to get He wants him and James Franklin to get signature wins. That's what he's calling for.
Franklin has his signature wins. He's beat Ohio State and Michigan before. Lane ain't beat nobody yet, man. He ain't. What's his signature win? A&M in 2019.
Yeah, fair point.
Like I'm holding out hope for Lane. Okay, I don't know why I am, but I am.
I still would like to know why you're doing that to yourself.
I don't know. Maybe I'm killing myself here. Maybe I'm killing myself.
You enjoy pain. Is that what it is?
Yeah, maybe.
I wrestled the other two. I mentioned OU as well. I wrestle with OU because I'm with Ty. I think the defense is going to be really, really good.
They're going to be sick.
My problem with y'all is the same thing. Is the other end of the Missouri problem is the schedule. I think y'all's schedule in November is ridiculous, and I think that's going to hurt. But I like the OU defense. I think it's going to be, I think it's going to rival, maybe not the mid 2000s when y'all were elite, but I think it's going to be one of the best in the SEC off rip.
Yeah, and that my only argument that I've made to, of course, in agreement with that is bringing back 86% production. Venables having players in his system for the 3rd year. I mean, he's getting veterans in his actual system. A la Clemson. I mean, that was one reason why they were able to beat Bama in the title. That defense was able to participate. You got to be able to do it. Yeah, I mean, luckily had 2 generational quarterbacks to go with it, but got to have defenses to be able to help because those games were down to the wire. So yeah. It's gonna be a fun year. I'm excited about the SEC.
My only thing. So look, I used to say this to my wife all the time too. Right? So yeah, BV. Dabo coached very well in those games, and they went down to the wire.
The first one did. The second one didn't.
Here we go, Jay. He about to say it. Go ahead.
I think Bama still put like 460 yards on the defense, though.
No. Go ahead and say your thing. The transcendent quarterback.
No. I wasn't talking about the transcendent quarterback. No. I'm just saying. I think Bama still put up like 450 on. On offense.
Oh, the first one, the first one, because I think Clemson did as well. It was less. It was
that's what I'm saying. It was a shootout. You know what I'm saying? It's like neither defense looked outstanding, if I'm not mistaken. In that that first one. Hold on. Let me look at the stats.
Let's
Thank you, Matthew
let's
Miller,
let
for the
that
super chat, by the way.
let's let that one go. Let's not do that.
Hold on,
Nick.
real quick. Super
Go
chat,
ahead, let the
Matthew
OU
Miller.
boys have their
Pull it
turn.
up
Y'all
now.
have talked enough. Come on, man. It's time for
He said, hold
hold
on. We got $10 here. He said that the bottom four of this conference is booty. Vandy's running the military offense. Mississippi State has no skill players. Arkansas has a minor league baseball player at wide receiver. And South Carolina's second best wide receiver is a converted quarterback.
My man.
Yeah, speaking
Touche.
We SEC ready, Matthew. That's how you gotta talk trash with these folks. They
Say
coming with that heat.
Say it with your chest.
Jay, you want to go first? Or you want me?
Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead, Chris. You got it.
All right. So obviously, I'm gonna go with OU. I think that when you do look at the schedule, I've been saying this a lot on my show and elsewhere as well. Jay knows this. That schedule is tough, but that's just on paper. We got to see how things, go through the season. We got to see how Milroe's going to adapt to the board. Is he going to be willing to take those shots? All the rest of that. I mean, it's a lot of question marks about a lot of different teams in the SEC. Steven, Nick, we've been on shows together on your respective shows as well, and we've all said one of the best things about coming to the SEC in this year was the fact that you're going to have a lot of new incumbent quarterbacks or a lot of different change or whatnot. So there's still a bunch of questions. Will Pete Golden take defense seriously up there and not put Walter Nolan at his safety spot, his nickelbacker, right? Will Lane Kiffin take things seriously? There's still a lot of questions out there, and it's still some of the same old things, right? So I say this right here. I say I love what we have on defense, and I really like what we have on offense as well. I think it's going to be hard just to bracket one guy if you're going to pay too much attention to somebody like Deion Burks. Then you got Gibson on one end, you got and Nick Anderson. Farouk is going to be there, and I think even though I love my boy Stoops, I think you add in, you got better at the slot position. So I think running game is going to be decent as well. Now,
So, real quick on that. Who's this mind cracking up?
So what I was going to say, go ahead.
Hold on real quick, man. That bet you had, you said Stoops was going to make a roster before Jordan Whittington. Remember you said that? Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey.
Let's be accurate here. He's been drafted, right?
Huh?
I know one.
Ain't no more, huh?
Hey, he's still gonna be on the roster, baby. Don't worry about it. Ain't nobody got cut yet.
As a
I've never
coach,
seen Chris do
Ain't
that
nobody
before.
got cut yet.
Chris, he gonna be the damn equipment manager. What size you want, Jordan? Large. All right, large it is.
Bro, once old boy ran a 4.78, it was a wrap, bro.
Hey, you gonna probably Terrence Cross or something like that.
That 40 time was nasty business, Chris.
Hey, Steven. When he ran that 4.78 and Bill Belichick retired, we knew it was a wrap. He ain't giving nobody.
Oh no, he's a Ram. He's on the Rams. Sean McVay loves it.
Stop playing. Put some respect.
McVay got love for that.
He's gonna set before your boy do. So
to the point on the defenses, you are right, Nick, that in that game that Clemson won 44-16, they did give up 443 yards. Okay, they also held Bama scoreless in the second half. I think the scoring portion was more important than the yards portion of it, right? But in the shootout,
what was the score again?
44-16.
So they held. Hold on. Who won that game again?
Clemson.
44. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, Clemson held them to 0 points in the second half. Right. They won 44-16.
Okay.
In the first game, the shootout, the 35-31 game, when Deshaun Watson won at the end of the game, Bama's had 376 yards in that game, which is, of course, less than the other year where it was a blowout. And they only passed for 155 with one touchdown. Ran for 220, though, because Bo Scarborough was
that was who was the quarterback that game? Was that
Jalen Hurts?
That was the freshman Jalen Hurts game? True freshman Jalen Hurts?
Was that true freshman or redshirt freshman?
Yeah, he's true freshman. He's true freshman. And basically,
he was SEC Offensive Player of the Year, though, coming into that game.
You gotta acknowledge y'all of it, right?
Like BV, that's all.
No. Look. That was a great game by both teams, actually.
Actually, it was. It was a really good. It was a great. It was a fun game overall. It was just fun. It was, it was
I didn't care who won.
Jalen had, if I remember
correctly, had the game-winning drive until Deshaun Watson came to the stand.
Back. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's looked at very differently.
Man,
yeah. Watson scored with 1 second left. Yes, correct. Yeah, because Hurts could have.
Look, I was pulling for Clemson, so.
Your wife probably punching, gonna throw stuff at your head. Like,
I'll pull for Clemson that game.
All right. So yeah, back to the list. So we got OU right there. So I said what I said. I'm done with that. So moving on, I think Georgia. I think Carson Beck takes a step. I'm eager to see what their skill positions look like. I lean on you guys because you guys say, hey, they're going to be better without Brock Bauer. I'm like, okay, but he was like, they're Mr. Everything.
No, we didn't say better. We said the offense might flow a little bit more evenly without Brock, because it flowed more evenly without Brock when he was gone, and they had Tyler Delp, another 5-star guy.
I think defensively they'll be there, and they'll be the same old. I really want to go with Bama simply because I like what DeBoer is going to be able to bring to that team offensively. I think he's going to open things up, and he's going to let it's really going to take the pressure off of Milroe, simply because to me, when that offense goes as the wide receivers goes, they got to win their routes, they got to win, and they got to make plays. So he puts a lot of emphasis on those wide outs. Fourth team, people are going to be pissed at me for saying this, especially my brothers to the left of me on this screen. Texas A&M. I'm sorry. I like Elko. I like Elko a lot. I think that if you are a hard-nosed, old-school football fan, I think you're going to like what you see from Texas A&M. I think there'll be a couple of games this year where they may score upwards of 50 points, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of their games are going to be one-score games to where it's, 35, 33, 33.
55. Hold on, 50 plus points from A&M this year?
Well, yeah, against like Vandy and against teams.
I mean,
like,
okay, we're not talking about Maine. I'm talking about against real competition.
Teams. That's going to be the only time they would even sniff.
Well, I mean,
but I think they're going to.
The way you said that was like when they're going against real competition. They're going.
Yeah, I think they're going to average probably like mid-20s or so.
So when they play real competition, they're going to be a 20-point team.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure we get that straight.
Yeah.
They lost Evan Stewart. They have no offensive line. And just want to make sure we're in the same spot.
But as we've all seen, we've seen Elko do more with less. So I would definitely say
the ACC, they had one team, and that team they don't even use the transfer portal or NIL. We know the ACC's weak.
I get that. I gotta
see
all that talent that he's got there. He's going to get the most out of them
as well.
Go ahead.
I got to see them without Elijah Robinson as well. That's a huge loss culture-wise, as well as when Elko was their defense. I'm with you in terms of Elko when he was their defensive coordinator before. I think that's more of a data point than the Duke stuff, in my opinion, because he was really, really good defensively for A&M when he was there. But Elijah Robinson was like, they kind of were, they had that metric going together. And now, my man's the head coach at Syracuse and took a lot with him. So I have questions there.
One thing I can say, Steven,
talent-wise.
One thing I can say, I'm looking at their schedule, and from an SEC standpoint, their schedule is not the most difficult.
Yeah.
So when I see their schedule, they honestly open up with Notre Dame. That's tough. You know what I'm saying? But then they got McNeese State, Florida, Bowling Green.
Game?
First game of the season.
Where's the game?
Where it's a neutral game.
Neutral site. Okay.
Yeah. So you got Notre Dame, then you got McNeese, Florida, Bowling Green, Arkansas. They should be 4-1 at the very least coming out of there, right?
Yeah.
Then you got Missouri. This is going to be a tough game, I think.
I think Missouri is a better football team right now.
Yeah, I do too. But it's at Cal Stadium. Then you got a bye week. Then you got Mississippi State. They beat State. So even if they're 5-2, which I got a feeling that Yeah, I'm gonna say 5-2. Then they got LSU. I think LSU beats them. They beat South Carolina. They beat New Mexico State. The Auburn game is going to be interesting. That's the one that's going to be interesting. Auburn's tricky, but let's say they beat Auburn. Let's say they go to Auburn and beat them. They getting beat by Texas. Yes, I'm sure.
Nick, we're gonna have to deal until November 30th.
I know.
We're just gonna have to deal with it. So,
but I can easily see them going 8-4 this year. I can see them going 9-3 this year. I don't think. I got them going 7-5. That was my record for them. I can easily see them going 8-4. Right?
I think the Notre Dame game will tell me everything I need.
Notre Dame's going to tell us a lot, but it's the first game of the season, so is it really going to tell you a lot? Because both these teams are going to be gearing up for each other for a complete summer, because they know that the next 3 games that they have are going to be cakewalks.
I sense that there's a good chance that A&M loses that game to Notre Dame, because Notre Dame's coming in with a little bit more experience, especially because Marcus Freeman has been there for 3 years. Yeah. This will be his 3rd season. That gives them an advantage, right? I don't think the game that tells me about A&M is going to be the Missouri Florida one.
You think it's Florida? I think
it's traveling to Florida. I think traveling to Florida.
That's a good point.
Elko's first SEC game on the road. That will tell me kind of what they're made of, because, like you said, the games around them are going to be, blah. The neutral site game against Arkansas, it's neutral site, and we all think Arkansas is not really. We think Pittman's going to get fired probably after that game anyway, so that may be the game that gets him fired, right?
He's going to take a Greyhound.
Bye week and in Missouri. That's where you're going to see it, right? You're right. I think Florida's the one.
Chris said that boy going to take a Greyhound.
The reason why I disagree with you on that is simple fact of this right here. A lot of questions will be answered in that first game. That is going to be a top 10 ranked team, Notre Dame, because the voters love the AP. They fall in love with Notre Dame every year, right? The problem for me, where I disagree with you at is that, look, Weidman, that's the question. I think defensively you're going to be okay. He got a bunch of transfers. He still has some of that 5-star talent, especially on the D line. I think he's going to get the most out of them. They're going to be hard to move.
Players that he recruited in, so yes.
It's going to be hard to move the ball on them at times during the season. And we all know Marcus Freeman makes some mistakes down the stretch, especially with some of the decisions he has. I think he's going to have better quarterback play. But the question is Weidman real? Is he going to be the guy? And I think that's going to answer.
I like Weidman.
Be answered in that first game.
My problem is their line going to be real? That's the key. I think
with the injury concern with a shaky offensive line.
Their offensive line is garbage.
That's a questionable recipe. I'm with you guys on Weidman though. If the offensive line is stable and he's healthy, then he's a baller.
We'll see. I mean, it's got to be consistent. They haven't had great quarterback play there since Kellen Mond.
I didn't call that great.
Yeah.
I was thinking Manziel, to be honest. I was going back to Manziel personally.
Damn, bro.
My bad, man.
I'm done, man.
Hey, look, y'all, man.
Like dog, I went 10-1.
Why I gotta catch it straight? Why I gotta catch it straight, man? Hey, but look, folks, man, look, it's 9:40, man. I gotta get up out of here. I gotta get my wife from the airport.
Same.
Yeah, man, she went to Costa Rica with her home. Yeah, dude.
Wifey on the girls' trip. I see.
Yeah, the girls' trip. You know what I'm saying? So I got to pick her from the airport at 11 o'clock. So
I just want to tell Chris. Chris said something about Georgia's skill position players. Let us not forget they took Florida's one Trevor Etienne.
Yes,
who is now in that backfield.
Yes, they
did. Chris like, I forgot about that one. Chris like, you're right about that one.
Touche, my brother. Touche.
All
right, we out, y'all. Deuces, man.
Peace out.